the global stage. But I'm so glad that you're here. A round of applause for yourself, please. A round of applause for yourself. We'll keep clapping. Let me wait for this brother. He's trying to catch up with the flags. Catch up, catch up, catch up. A round of applause for yourself. Okay. Thank you very much. So, like I said earlier, I said you should try to introduce yourself to us. Like next one. Let someone seated close to you. So I'm going to be moving to one or two persons. I'm going to be asking, what's your name? What's the name of your neighbor? What do they do? And what country? So maybe I should give you the opportunity to do it again. Mr. Ife, please, am I entitled to like souvenirs so I can give to my people? Or there are souvenirs given to them already? Okay. So all I need you to do is please kindly, introduce yourself. Yes, sit exactly. Very, very important. See, you see these first two rows, it's for very, very important points. If you go to the back. Alright, so please talk to your neighbor. What's your name? What do you do? What country are you looking forward to go? Right? And what you're looking forward to hear tonight. What do you want to what's your take home? What are your expectations? I need to know. Yeah. Okay, so let me meet with you, sir. What's your name? Mr. Lee what? Oh, I remember. I called you, Egala. Yes. Alright, so what's the name of your neighbor? Miss or Miss? Did you know network? What does she do? Okay, what country is she willing to go to? Okay. Mrs. Blessing, right? Miss Blessing. What's the name of your okay? What does it? Ah, see. You tell me how you were able to pass your exam in the university. Oh, I did not know. Let me move to the next person. Break session over. 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 So tell me, what's the name of your neighbor? No, it's not. The time I'll go. The time I'll go. So, the time I'll go, I can vote long. Okay, so I'll give you the chance. So, what's the name of your neighbor, sir? He's Maxi. He's Shane. Your visa is here. So, what do they do? He's a program manager. He's a social worker. And what function do you do? Looking at the US. Okay. A round of applause for him, please. A round of applause, please. Please, with the way that you are talking, sure that I have to do this for you. Mommy, what's the name of your neighbor? No. Mommy, what's Mommy, you know that I'm a Yoruba girl. You want to use Lagos for me. I got it. Mommy, so please, what's the name of your neighbor? Mommy. Okay. What does he do? He's a 90%. And what country is he looking at? I don't want to go to Donald Trump country. Make sure you hold your change. All right, so right about now, I just want to say welcome to Going Global Lagos. The first edition, yeah, we had a Going Global in Ghana 2 days ago, right, Mr. Ben? 2 days ago, and please, I want you to use this opportunity to say that if you're not following us on LinkedIn or Twitter, you are long thing. So please do well to follow us across all socials. LinkedIn is Vesti, and Twitter is Vesti Official. And if you don't belong to the Vestified community, a link will be passed across or say it's a barcode, then you can scan them so you'll be able to join the Vesti community. That's where we dish out the first hand information. Okay, I was coming to that. So that's how you get the first hand information about anything migration. And answering this question, our Instagram, we have some technical issues at the moment, but we're gonna get it sorted and we'll be back. Like we never left. So please just follow us on LinkedIn, on Twitter, Vesti Official. You can do that right now. Yes, and please maybe you take a selfie and just hashtag going global Lagos. Yeah. Alright, so with no further ado, I would like to call on I would like to call on the communication lead and partnership lead here at Vesti, is no other than Mr. Ifeoluwa Agbaje Ite. A round of applause for him as he comes from the stage to tell us, he's going to give us an overview of what we should be expecting tonight. A round of applause for him, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Yes, I must say we are super excited to have you with me. Just to make a correction, this is not first time we are having this kind of event. It's a signature event organized by Vesti. It's a free event every time across different cities. Just like she mentioned, we just had this kind of event in Accra a few days ago, 2 days ago. Yes. So this is the first of its kind we are doing in Lagos in 2025, essentially. So I want to welcome you to this Going Global Lagos with Vesti. I'll just do a brief intro about us. We are going to invite the key speaker for this evening. I'm sure any of us will have listened to us. This is Vesti, our migration fintech company. This is the first time you're coming in contact with the brand. Can I see your hand up? Perhaps if you understand about it, somebody could know about it. So, the migration fintech company basically provides legal and financial services for the if that services that business point was providing to people across the world, right? That's the example. We have two operational offices here in Lagos, Nigeria, and we have subsidiaries in Ghana, Zambia, the UK, Canada. Next month we are launching in Kenya. We are super excited. So I want you to celebrate yourselves for being here this evening. Go share insights about things that you need to take advantage of. I know many of us have set goals for ourselves in 2025. And part of those goals that we want to see how we can access global opportunities. We want to see how we can move abroad. We want to see what's possible with what you currently do or what you've done in the history of your career. Many of us qualify for so many interesting visas and we don't even know that we qualify for them. So without wasting much of our time, I would like to invite here the podium no other person than the number one person invested today, visionary.
That's also political position. Thank you so much, Ife. Yeah, you want to make me feel like a Nigerian politician and say number one citizen, and all of that. Thank you so much for making our time to come this evening, especially at today's a Thursday, right? Yeah, 4 p.m. on Thursday can be really hard. It's really hard to get off work real quickly. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you, Tiana. Good to see you. Okay. I'm not going to go over some of the things Ife has already said. We're migration fintech. People have asked us why, migration, why financial services. My co-founder and I are brothers, and about 6 years ago, we got to an inflection point. We had just moved to the US at the time, and we found out that there were, challenges that we were facing, but that those challenges were not just our challenges. There were millions of other people facing the same problems, either people who have moved already or people that were trying to move. And as a software engineer and my brother, an immigration attorney, we decided to build a platform that makes it simpler, easier for immigrants to move everywhere around the world. And when it comes to problem solving, it's really many times about what connects with you. Because of all the problems in the world, why did we choose that as the one we wanted to solve? I'm going to try your microphone if it's better. Why did we choose that as the one to solve? It turns out that 4 years later, and several thousands of immigrants, helped with over 1 million downloads in the App Store, several hundreds of thousands of customers trying to use our platform to move to new countries. We have seen that it's a problem that is indeed worth solving. For those of you who came slightly earlier, you might have seen that we had an event here earlier. That's about 60 of us, our team members. We started only as 2 people. This 4 years later, 60 of us in 5 countries. About 15 people joined online who are based in other parts of the world, and we are super, super excited that I don't want to use the word that we have been chosen to solve this problem. It's more like we chose that this is the problem we want to solve. So we're a team of lawyers, software engineers, process managers, who have built a mobile and web app that simplifies the process. First, our system includes, but is not limited to, identifying what actual visa pathway matches your profile and skill sets. And once we do that, we reduce your error rates by over 70%, increase your success rates. Right now, across our special talent visas, our success rate is over 96%. So we essentially won't ask you to go to a country that doesn't want you. Just a moment ago, I was discussing with a friend about, how we decide which new countries we want to open. And we basically base it on, as that new country developed a program. Do they have a program? If Saudi Arabia announces now that they want 40,000 doctors, that is a program. So what you do is identify, you don't bring a mechanic, you don't bring a farmer. What you go and look for is what? A doctor. If the US says, okay, they have a program for bachelor's degree holder across all disciplines, what do? You go to a place where there are people that have bachelor's degree. You don't go to people that have OND. You don't go to people that have, HND. You go to people that, you get what I mean? So that's what we do. We match like that, and we use, at the risk of sounding cliche, we use cutting edge AI to do that matching. Last year we helped thousands of people get into the H-1B specialty occupation lottery. And that lottery is an example of where Vesti's value comes to play. The first thing is that a lot of people thought that the lottery was already done, closed, not existent. And many of them even argue online about that, forgetting that that's not the lottery that closed. It's not the diversity visa lottery. It's the specialty occupation lottery. There are 100 other programs like that that are existing for Nigerians and other Africans that people don't even know about. So we boast ourselves in sharing information around, these special visa categories. So rather than just sit down in our offices acting like, travel concierges and agents, we actually go to cities where we can meet people. So 2 days ago, we were in Accra. Next month, we're going to be in Accra again, and 4 other cities, including Abuja, Port Harcourt, London, and Houston, Texas. And what are we doing there? Take the word out, meet up with people, give them their aha moments, give them job-dropping insights, help them realize that this thing is possible. Half of the time, it's the skepticism that I'm met with. I'm already used to it. Like, are you serious? Like, okay, you guys built a whole company just for guiding people on how to move to a new country? Yes, we did. Oh, seriously? These visa types exist? Oh, yes, they do exist. Are you saying as a painter, as an artist, as a fashion entrepreneur, I can move to a new country with my green card? Are you saying that is true? Yes, that is true. Are you saying I've been qualified 9 years prior and I didn't know? That is true. Are you saying you even have loans to fund that process for me? That is absolutely true. So that's really what today is going to be about. Typically, we would sit, Ife and I, and have this conversation, and hopefully at some point we will, if they find me a high stool eventually, because there are questions that Ife can ask that can help us get to this really quickly. But I'll make some effort here to do a general overview of some of my own favorite types of visa. We do about 100 of those across different countries, whether they are temporary or permanent visa types. And there are some that are our favorites, meaning that they are bestsellers, in quotes, what you can call the favorites, the ones that people really love to be part of. Not just because they are low barrier, but because they are definite. requirements. And once you can get people through definite requirements, they're good to go. So I'll talk about those, and then I'll let you also ask questions at any point about the requirements for any of the visa types. And if I can do a good job at reminding me as well if there are any ones that we've missed. But we've done this quite a number of times, so I kind of tend to remember my lines. So we go through that, answer some questions, and make it worth your time. Because at the end of the day, we want you to be able to live here with clarity on like what you need to do. And being a small, closed group, if you have specific questions that pertain to you as an individual, you can describe your profile or you can make it hypothetical, theoretical, and say, oh, if there is somebody that has XYZ, that's also allowed. I will answer the question assuming that it's not you. And with that, we can get a lot of benefits from that. There are some QR codes that will be showing behind me. I actually prefer that, not this flyer, since I'm already here. Um, you know so there are some QR codes that are there. They are like action QR codes. The goal is, if you wanted to get started, most of us have mobile phones that can scan QR codes, and we can easily get started with any of these services and all of that. Demand is always high at the beginning of the year. So if you book a clarity call, you might be getting to speak to a lawyer in March. Speaking to my friend again, she said, what are the challenges you're facing? I said, the ability to meet demand. So I have about 560 unread DMs in my own personal Instagram right now, and I'm not supposed to, right? Because I should be the one that want business. Now there's business. You can't handle it. It is what it is. There's just too many people, who want to. There's 272 million immigrants in the world today living in a country other than where they were born. And there's 500 million people desiring to move, 550 million desiring to move, 27 million on the move every single year, looking for greener pastures, better opportunities, pushed by a force from their home country or pulled by an opportunity in the destination country they are going to. So it's such a problem to be trying to solve. And every day we are also trying to grow our capacity to make sure that we can. So anytime I say, oh, I have unread DMs, I'm not saying it with pride. I'm saying it with like the challenges. It's part of challenges that we face. So I'll get started with the categories of visa per country, that we support with. Most people, love America, and understandably so. I mean, except until recently, of course. But even with that, people are still like, we don't mind. There are 1.4 million people on President Trump's deportation lists. And out of those 1.4 million, there's a breakdown somebody just did on LinkedIn. Somalia is number one in Africa. We'll go to Africa. No, so let's focus on Africa now, of course. Mexico, the Dominican Republic, El Salvador, all of those ones have huge numbers. But in Africa, Somalia is number one. And then another country, then Nigeria is like number three or so. And it's not much, 3,000 something people, that are on deportation lists. So it's not a lot of people, if you get what I mean. If you think about the larger scale of things. And it actually shows that we're quite a responsible, group of people, because we're always looking for opportunities. We are very, I think Ghana is number two, I think. Then Nigeria follows. So Ghana actually has more people on that list than us. But it turns out that that's really not your own business if you're a professional, if you are a business person, if you are just the resilient Nigerian. That's not your business, because ultimately that's their own journey. And while some of them have genuine humanitarian issues, like imagine somebody who went on asylum, and is fleeing from political persecution and is going to be deported. Those are really humanitarian issues. But other people actually know. They overstayed intentionally and maybe by lack of knowledge. So it's okay. It's not so okay, but it's okay. I think there's Abike Dabiri and President Tinubu that were pictured in one Insta blog post yesterday about saying that they are ready to receive Nigerians once they come back. And my brother sent it to me and said, which kind of country are we part of? Because in the case of Ghana, Ghana is actually rumored to be sending back US troops back to America, that they don't want a US base just to protest to the US government. I've not heard anything of such from the Nigerian government, but this is not a political discourse. So as you think about countries, the top three destinations that we power right now, and understandably so. They have five things, that represent quality of life, right? Social security, purchasing power, the power of the passport, good health care. I think there's one last one I forgot. But those are things that usually economists use to determine quality of life. So the UK, the US, and Canada top those lists for us at Vesti. And turns out that also these guys are familiar or used to receiving Nigerians. That's another interesting thing. The whole idea that the US consulate knows every fake marriage certificate from Nigeria. They know what it looks like if it's fake YX certificate because they're really experienced in Nigeria. They go as far as Ondo State High Court to do verification of a divorce. They're very, very experienced. So same with Canada, same with the UK. They're used to Nigerian immigrants, and that's a fantastic indication of the kind of countries to move to. Countries that already understand the standards of what it means to be a Nigerian. It can have its own disadvantage as well. So for the UK, we support entrepreneurs who are trying to move to the UK. We support students that are trying to move to the UK. We support professionals that are trying to move to the UK. There are special talent programs for that category, whether you are in tech, you are in arts, you are in entertainment. There are special talent visas to the United Kingdom, many of which will give you a work permit as soon as you arrive, and they don't need sponsorship. Many people are only familiar with the healthcare visa for the UK that requires a certificate of sponsorship, otherwise known as COS, that's been bastardized up until now. But there are still real COS programs, that you can get on with agents that are recruiting for hospitals and the NHS. So there's that. But we like to go in directions that are less traveled. So technician visa for anybody who is a techie, whether you're a product person, a career person, a coder, even research, and if you're in fashion or arts, you can also do the technician visa. There are schools in the UK that we support. Anyone here interested in going to school abroad, you're wondering how to be able to fund it, or you have friends or family that might be interested, we actually fund your program for between $10,000 and $100,000 to go to the UK. There are 600 schools we support across UK, US, and Canada. And there's quite a number of fine schools in the UK, that we support. Very fine schools. So if that's of interest, definitely you want to talk to our team about that. There's also the investment visa in the UK as well, looking at anything between 250 to 300,000 pounds to establish a business. It's never out of place to talk about it. There are people who are interested in it, who are getting towards retirement, feel like, or they have wealth from like different sources. As long as it's verifiable, you can definitely use that to move to the United Kingdom. As against popular belief, the pathway to being citizen in the United Kingdom is not hard. It's just that many people have gone out of status and they can't fix it. So they will say, oh, there's no path to citizenship. But if you're going with a work permit, usually most of the work permits will get you to ILR. ILR is their own permanent residence, indefinite leave to remain, within a 3 to 5 year period. And once that has happened, you stay on the ILR for some time, and then you can file for citizenship in a couple of years. And that's how people get their British passport, and then begin to look for what else they need to do. For Canada, most of you have heard about the Express Entry program, right? The nuisance of it is how long you have to stay in the pool, especially if you haven't calculated it well. So Canada is such an interesting place. Interesting because it is designed for actually a set of people who conform to certain rules. You're under 30, you're married, you speak English to the point of knowing the difference between an adverbial clause and a phrase, meaning that you can pass IELTS. You have saved up to 40 million in proof of funds. Your spouse also speaks enough English to be able to help you. So you see, like the conditions are a little tricky. But I've seen people that is their life. What I just defined now is their life. So they don't spend 3 months in the pool. Their scores are high and all that. But for the majority of us, it is not true. Half of us can not differentiate between challenge and challenge. So, if we get to do an English language test, it might be a problem. So, those who speak good English have not saved enough money Those who have saved enough money are above 40. You know, those who are not above 40 are single. So their numbers are, so you get what I mean. The conditions have to be correct for the express entry to be a perfect program for you. But if you're under 30, you work in top companies, you have a master's degree. I forgot to say that. Again, master's degree. So the combination is quite rare. You know, I applied in the express entry pool. You know, my spouse didn't have a master's at the time. Both of us had written the IELTS. You know, I happened to pass a little more than her. Um, and then the score still wasn't high enough because I had a master's degree, but she didn't. We were about turning 30. So it was like this, like that. But around the same time, I also did the US O1 visa, which I will talk about. It was 6 months after I got to the US that I got invited to come to Canada. But I was already, you know, done deal by then, so I wasn't interested anymore. But that's how hard it is. My wife wrote IELTS twice, you know what I mean? So sometimes the struggle is real just to be able to get these things going. So that's the express entry program. I feel like it looks like the most direct program, but it is not. You know, so for Canada, some of the most direct programs are actually education and the Canada Care Visa, for instance, or a special provincial nomination. Provincial nominations are great because they're like lotteries. They are good because you just don't know. You could be a farmer, and it turns out that because you chose a province that supports agriculture, things move faster. And once you get the provincial nomination, like I did for Manitoba, it increases your score significantly. And that month, you are going to be called for an invitation to apply. Then you now look at the technicalities of how much proof of fund you have, the timing you've calculated to be able to make sure that that works. So it can be a little tricky, but our team can work with you through the process, especially if you did your CRS, you know, your calculation of the score, and it looks like it's above, you know, the recent months, then we're going to, you know, give you a thumbs up and say, okay, it looks like something we should do. And the moment you begin that process, you must start your proof of fund process and make sure that you have explanation for every money that comes into the account that you're going to be using. So all of that process end to end, we're happy to help you with it. But education is great for Canada, especially up until recently when they now started having rules around how long you can stay after school and all that. But most of the good programs, especially the ones that are research-based, STEM-based, are still going to have you be able to get a 2-year work permit after school and, of course, convert it to a permanent residency eventually. The Canada Startup Visa is also interesting. Even if you don't have a company yet, you can move to Canada on the Canada Startup Visa to go and create a company by getting into one of our partner incubators. When you get into that partner incubator program, you're building the tech company that you will run in Canada. You're going to get a 2 to 3 year, you're going to get a 2-year work permit, and then eventually you can convert that to a permanent residency as well. So that definitely works. The Canadian Care Visa. So I'm blazing through some of them, but what you would do is anyone that sort of like connects with you, you can ask about them, then I'll double click on it. All right. So the Canadian Care Visa is an interesting visa program. There's a shortage of care workers in most developed countries. And the reason is simple. As economic opportunities increase, there's less babies being born, there's more people getting older, you know, and as a result, they need more people to care, you know, for their aged ones. So Canada is one of those countries that has a shortage right now. And this shortage is leading to, you know, them looking for creative ways to find people who are, you know, trained to be nurses, to be caregivers. And you may ask yourself, I didn't go to nursing school, but that is not what Canada is saying. Canada is saying that you can do a 6 months program anywhere in the world, convert it to the Canadian equivalent, you know, do a 6 months practicum where maybe you're doing care at home or care for somebody, you know, and basically use that as a basis to move to Canada under the care program. You're required for 24 months to continue to work in that line of work, but you can convert that work permit to a permanent residence card that does not require you to work in healthcare at all. All right. So those are like some of the interesting things around Canada. So you know, I'm not saying these are all the visas that are available in Canada or in the UK. I'm just telling you the ones that we consider favorites. In case you've heard about another one and you want to ask me questions about it, please feel free. I'm going to go to the US, where I may spend a little more time now. In the case of the US, the first thing you want to know is that the most difficult US visas are actually the ones that are temporary and popular, like the B1, B2. That's the one you use 3 years to look for dates. You look, the visa officer decides whether to give you the visa just because of how you look that morning, or whether he's in a bad mood or in a good mood, you know. But every other visa, especially the ones that have to do with work or residency, do not, have as much problem. They may cost a little more, but their timing is great in terms of ability to get appointments. Their requirements are clear. It's not emotional. The discretion, the use of discretion by the officer is much more reduced. As a result, you can predict that village people will have no recourse to that. Just a joke. But you can at least be more confident that, okay, this is a process that it's going to work quite well. Um, I started by talking about the H-1B visa, so I'll start with that. So the H-1B visa is a specialty occupation visa. And anything I'm saying here, please feel free. We say it all the time. Feel free to fact check them on uscis.gov. uscis.gov is the source of truth for all information about the US immigration. So please check them out. Because people argue with me so much on Instagram, I have to believe that they are psychotic, intentionally just trolling us. Because somebody said, I've lived in America for 30 years and there's nothing like the H-1B visa. And you just be like, what audacity. There's just so many of them, so much that my brother says I should stop responding. But because of my nature, I can't not respond. So I still want to say, sorry, what is it? I just checked your page. You're a medical doctor. What is the problem with you? So the H-1B visa is the way America powers itself. That's the truth. It became a major topic area recently when people were like, will Trump cancel it? And Trump himself said, even himself has many H-1B workers. So Walmart, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, they all hire thousands of H-1B workers every year. Amazon 4,000, Microsoft about 3,500 every single year. I'm not talking about. So if you look at Microsoft's staff strength of about 120,000 right now, you may actually have about 40,000 H-1B workers out of all of those. It's crazy. To let you know the scale again, every year there are 1 million H-1B transfers in America. Transfers, meaning that you're moving from one company to another on the H-1B visa. So that shows you that is a lot. And a lot doesn't mean you don't have an opportunity in that. A lot means that, okay, it means that there's some interest here. There's something about this visa type. So it's a 3 years work permit attached to the sponsor. 3 years. 3 years work permit attached to the sponsor. Renewable once with the same employer. So it makes it 6 years. And within that 6 years, you can go on and apply for a green card. The employer can file for you for a green card, or you can apply for another type of green card. How long does it take to get it? Within the same year. What it means is if you start it in March, which is when it opens every year, by August, September, you should be in America. Sometimes people have challenges where maybe there are date issues, they couldn't get on their approval came with an RFE. RFEs are requests for more evidence. So there are few people, maybe by virtue of their background, the university they went to, like for example now, the secondary school I went to does not exist again. So there's no way I want to do that kind of thing that there won't be an RFE. Are you sure you went to high school? So they're always asking for my WAEC result for anything I do because this testimonial from my school does not hold water. It's no longer on Google Map. So that's an example. So some people have RFEs that make them delayed. So I don't know, maybe one or two persons here, maybe you're part of H-1B this year, you got approved. Okay, yeah. Oh, of the entire case? Okay, we'll talk about it. But was it at the embassy here? Oh, you were sent a denial notice. Okay, Bumi is here, so you and Bumi are going to talk about it. Yeah, there's some cases that are rare. This is like one out of, I don't know. Yeah. You have an RFE. RFE is not a denial. So first of all, request for more evidence. They will explain why. Have you read it? Have you read the request for more evidence? What they are requesting for? The letter has not come. Okay, letter. So when the letter comes, most of the RFEs for H-1B, and I'm going to go into that, come on expert opinion. There's an expert opinion letter that has to be sent. But they won't let you send it ahead of time. And again, in the law court, you don't give what they've not asked. You know what I mean? So for most of the RFEs, Usually, some of them will come with request of more evidence on, like, is this. No, that's not an RFE. That means you've gone to the embassy already. That's not an RFE. That's the administrative processing is something else I will explain. Yes. Many of these things are there. Where is Femi? Femi, are you here? Yeah. So there are AP people who have been approved. The good thing about the H1B visa is that, or any visa that we do invest, is that we know that there is no problem with the visa type when there are still people getting approved in the process. I don't know if you get what I mean. So you know that issues are isolated and you can talk about, but I don't want us to talk about them just yet. By the way, these programs we do are also an avenue for people who want to come and see us in person to do that. That's why they are here. So in case you, so we always have that touch point every single time. But let's talk about the length of the visa. So up to 6 years, then you can renew, and then you can, get a green card as well. So typically, the timeline is that you get selected in the lottery. It's a lottery. It's a lottery-based system. Why is it a lottery-based system? Typically, they can only take 80,000 people every year, but there are more people than 80,000 who apply. So because there are more people than 80,000 who apply, it has to be subjected to a lottery. So once they're done with the lottery, if you are selected, that lottery will then be, the avenue for you to, the lottery selection will be the avenue for you to file and submit the details. Then you attend an interview, usually at the embassy here in Lagos. The process is that our team preps you, and then there are two things that can happen. And we didn't used to say two things that can happen. We just realized now that by virtue of when I first did the O1 4 years ago, people used to get administrative processing a lot. There are people I can mention some of their names because they are public figures and they've gotten their green card already now. But back in the day, some of them waited a whole year for administrative processing. And the administrative processing itself is not necessarily it's such a flimsy excuse. But if somebody says is processing you, what are you going to do about it other than to wait? So I have a mentor and senior friend whose wife literally wrote to the embassy, long letter, angrily, and said, and they released them like 2 days or so later. So sometimes because they're trying to find out some things. So one can get an administrative processing or one can get an approval. Most of the people for this year got an approval. Most. I'm talking about like 85%. And a few people got administrative processing, not just in Nigeria. So some people got administrative processing in London. So what I was trying to say about the O1 versus this one is that when the O1 was new as well, they were giving APs. But now the H1B supposedly seems to be new to them in Nigeria. So because I feel like getting about 1,000 people into the pool last year is one of the reasons why they were like, oh, really, really? So people are now doing H1B in Nigeria as well. But they have no choice because Nigeria hasn't met its cap, right? So I feel like as they get more knowledge about it, they're going to then continue to begin to approve more people. Sometimes also, we don't blame our customers, but, we've trained the customer before that their job site, which is where the employer is Arlington, Texas. And we trained them 4 times. That's Arlington, Texas. And the customer still went there and said it's in Atlanta, Texas. So these are some of the challenges that, okay, somebody will look at you and say, you did not apply for this job if you didn't know that Atlanta is not in Texas. And they put that person on AP. And sometimes, because we can't record your interview, we don't know what exactly went wrong in the course of that particular interview. But we do all our home best. But the good thing is, because you have a partner in us that can continue to assist you to make sure that you get through the process, it often ends in joy at the end of the day. So that's the H1B visa. So this year it opens, they haven't quite announced, but typically it opens first week of March. That's the lottery. But we don't wait till first week of March. The reason is simple. Last year we returned some people's money because we couldn't put them in the lottery because our team was swamped. So this year, or this past December, we started asking people to register early so that we can pre-process you. And once it opens like this, that's the day you get into the pool. So we don't have to wait till the end of the month. Because if we do wait till the end of the month and we can't send you proof that we entered into the lottery, you're going to get a refund, essentially. So we don't want to do that and reduce your chance for that year. And the closes are the same March, around the 20-something. So depending on the year, It could be March 6 to 26, March 4 to 25. So I'm not able to tell which year, but they will soon announce the dates and they will say, oh, this is when it opens. But usually, I think they announce like first week of February, thereabout, when the dates will be for this year. So we're all anticipating it. So that's the H-1B visa for you. To get into the lottery cost about $1,000. That's to get into the lottery, and it is luck. I repeat, it is luck. Oh, is there any way you can do? Is there anything you can do to make it better? There is nothing other than putting you in the lottery. What are the chances? Chances are pretty good. It is not 1 in 1 million people. No, it's not like what's that one? Swipe stakes, or what do they call it? The actual lottery where you win $1 million. It's not like those ones. This one, they actually select about 24% of people. So the chances are very, very high. If you, to me, and I didn't think they were high until I spoke to a friend. It's like, that's actually higher than 1 in 10. 24 is like, 24% is quite a deal. So it means that if 100 people are in this room who come today for it, 24 of them are going to be selected. So it's worth giving a chance for those who are interested in that kind of track. And we don't convince people and say, oh, that's what you must do. No, we don't. The minimum requirement is a bachelor's degree or its equivalent. A bachelor's degree or its equivalent. So HND works for it. What we just do is to do the conversion, right? Profession is not really super important. Though it's a specialty occupation program, we have a way of finding the equivalence of your occupation. If you're a teacher, we would essentially convert you to an instructor, as instructors are allowed as part of the occupation. So typically we can find careers that are adjacent to your career to be able to demonstrate the specialty and nature of your occupation, all right? I think that's all I want to say about the H1B. Is there any other thing about the H1B? Yes, you are doing a good job having to stand without sitting down. Please, you shouldn't. Maybe you should get a seat or something. Because it's easier for me because I'm the one talking. But just waiting and be like, please, let's get him, Israel, let's get him one of those chairs. So what are other thoughts you have about this? Anything I missed about the H1B that you think?
You covered the timeline already.
Yep.
It's very, very
Timeline, cost, duration of the visa itself, requirements
and then the possibility of conversion
to a green card, that's right. I think pretty much, yeah. Pretty much that's it about the H1B. Do you have any questions about the H1B before we proceed? Any questions about the H1B before we proceed? Yeah, so the lottery, so there are two stages. The lottery selection, all that happens in April. So first week of April, once the lottery closes, because it's electronic, once it closes by the end of March, by the first week of April, the lottery selection, everybody knows that they've been selected. But there's usually a supplementary if not enough people used their selection to apply. Like this year, some people were selected and they didn't, some people called us and said the letter is fake, that they can't believe it, that they were not selected. It's not possible. You entered the lottery, the letter came out, they said, no. I said, call the USCIS. It's a federal offense to fake a US government document. Do you understand? So if that doesn't happen, they will now run a supplementary to be able to meet up with the quota that they need to do. So I've seen some people got selected in the second draw. That was usually towards the end of the year, right? So I think that's the answer on the timing. So after that selection, you now still submit documents, LCA, approval, all those kind of things, labor certification. Our team does all of that for you and with you. And the approval is supposed to come within a month or two. Then you now come and do visa date. I don't want to use, especially because there are people here who have specific cases. So I don't want you to think it's you I'm talking about. But I've seen scenarios where people didn't start. So June 30th is the final date you must submit after you've been selected, right? So you have about 3 months to raise money to do all of that. I know people waited for June 24 before they did theirs. So and then those people now want to compare themselves with those who already did theirs from like March and got in already to the US. So I know a lot of people. In fact, we did a end of the year party last year, December, and we had quite a number of H1B people who came to attend, who have arrived in America already. We've done testimonial videos for those who are happy to do testimonial videos. As some other people that they don't want anybody to see their face in any video, they don't want village people to, affect their matter. So, but quite a number of people did testimonial video, we posted it on our website. Some were not, we don't have the liberty to, but they just said, okay, they are still happy to give us testimony, but we should not share, And there's some other people who said until they have gotten their green card, they don't want anybody to know that they're in America at all. So, so we deal with a lot of that as well. But yeah, a lot of people have arrived. And there's people who have AP, administrative processes, just like I said, that we're still providing them support. Say, they will treat her. Has the embassy said anything? Oh, no, not yet. Oh, There's a gentleman in the UK who called my brother and said, he has AP, he has administrative processing. This H1B, there's nobody that's ever arrived in America with H1B. This visa is fake. It's a lie. Everything is a lie. I said, calm down. 2 weeks later, the same person will bring wine and say, God bless you. Say, we don't collect wine. God bless you. They've now approved my AP, So the immigration process can be nerve-wracking because a lot of anxiety. Do you understand? A lot of anxiety because you're not sure what is about to happen. So any other questions about H1B? Any other questions about H1B?
Also talk about the fact that it's locked.
Yeah. The lottery pass, we don't control the lottery part. No, we don't. Because that one is locked. It's always important to explain it. Because some people will be like, oh, what happened? And last year, the reason why it's 1,000 this year, because in your time, it wasn't $1,000. It was way cheaper. It was like $100. Exactly. How did it jump from $100 to $1,000? That's a lot. Vesti people, you people must be, that's not true. Guess what? The US government increased the money by 21 times the amount. The government fee last year was $10. This year is 210, 215 or thereabout this year. Go and check. Go to USCIS and read it. If God sees me, if they say it's $10 they are collecting, you will get your money back. There's a receipt now. They are announced by themselves. Have you heard of asylum processing? This is the job we do day and night. I've heard of asylum processing for people that are doing O1. I'll still talk about O1. You are doing a work permit as a technology entrepreneur, and they ask you to be paying $315 for asylum. So please, whatever link you saw, please send that link to us. Because the memo we saw in the US government bulletin has increased it by 21 times. That's the memo we have. So that's it. But this is part of the things I say I face all the time because I didn't know where he saw his own. I said $10 last week, and it says when they posted it. Did you read when they posted it? Did you read when they posted it? The date they posted it? A blog. And you need to now. You might be reading a 1993 blog. They have not changed it for more than 15 years. They've not changed the cost. For more than 15 years, they just changed it last year. I don't know what happened. They just felt like, okay, they should make changes. They didn't change EB1 money for years. They just changed it last year. Government fees. Maybe Donald Trump will come and change it back. I don't know. Anyways, so let's move away from H1B real quickly. Let's move to, hope I'm not boring you guys. For the lottery, there's no criteria for a lottery. It's a lottery. That is what a lottery is. No criteria as long as everybody that entered has a bachelor's degree and an international passport. That's it. There is a category, in case some of you have been reading about it, where they select 20,000 more people if you have a master's degree from the US, not from Nigeria. If you have a master's from the US, there's a 20,000 extra. So it increases your chances a little more if you have a master's degree. Other than that, nothing, no requirement. They just roll it. They roll it, and people get selected, and everybody gets letters. They send letters. Very hard work to do to get the letters to all the customers. Because they will send letter for everybody that gets selected from the USCIS. Anyway, so let's move to other talent visas. There are two. Okay. Start with the O1, right? Okay. So the O1 visa is the younger brother of another visa I'll talk about. The O1 visa is called the Alien with Extraordinary Ability. So the Alien with Extraordinary Ability visa is a 3-year petition approval, or we can call it a 3 years work permit as well, that is renewable every year incrementally, meaning that you can renew it every year forever. 1 year increments only. Why would anybody do that, right? There are folks that they already have a British passport or a Canadian passport. So they might do a visa type that doesn't really make them permanent residents. Also, if you're somebody that needs speed, so in my own case, when I was moving to America, I needed to do it with speed. So I needed something that can happen very quickly. They approved the O1 visa in like 8 days, 9 days, and it covers your family, covers your wife or your husband, covers your kids, and it's a very, very merit-based visa. There are 7 requirements you must have, and only 3 are crucial, like any 3. Once you can meet any 3, you get the approval, right? So do you want us to go through those 7 requirements right now? Good? Okay. So the first one is evidence of receipt of local, national, or internationally recognized awards. So if you've won any type of award before, that is for you. Evidence of judging the work of others. So if you have been a supervisor, you've judged at an act. And you have distinguished reputation, you can get a letter of good standing from them that will qualify you. Evidence of high salary or high remuneration for work. So if what's considered high salary, they use Glassdoor and other platforms to check the median salary in that country where you are, and essentially we basically pick to see whether your salary goes above that. What are evidences you need to show for that? Invoices, contracts, employment letters, pay stubs, and so on and so forth that demonstrate. If you're going to use an invoice, you have to demonstrate that that invoice was actually paid. So it's not just saying, you can't just whip up an invoice from somewhere. If an invoice was sent, the customer, proof that the customer actually paid you is going to be what you use for that. So I think that's about 7 requirements. Was it 6?
Critical role. Evidence of
critical capacity. So if you have evidence of holding a critical, a role that is of critical capacity to an organization with distinguished reputation. So let's say you are the head of compliance somewhere, you are the head of finance, you are the CMO, and all that. This is executive. Pass that requirement. Business too. That's a critical role. As long as the organization is considered of distinguished reputation. So I usually tell people we work in a Nigerian bank, insurance company, that is listed on the stock exchange, for example. A critical role there's a chance that you meet that requirement already. So those 7 requirements are, they're there on our website. Quiz, the O1 quiz on our website, you will tell whether you pass. If you score 3/7, you are considered qualified, and if you are not inherently qualified, meaning that you scored 1 out of 7 or 2 out of 7, what you can do is that you can look at which requirements are the closest that you can accomplish, and you begin to work on those. And we also have a documentation support service that can help you to accomplish those ones that you don't already have. typically, even though it's just 3 out of 7 that people need, we always want people to have at least 5 out of 7, so that you are sort of like overwhelmingly qualified for that particular approval, right? Once you give us all of these documents, put it together, write a petition letter on it, and we submit it to the USCIS. If you do premium, within 2 weeks, you're going to get a response. Within 6 months, you're going to get a response. Which is within to deny, which is, well, we don't think quite it, and we want to deny you. Is there anything you have to say as your final words before we deny you? And then the final one is denial. We don't really see outright denials because, except something is criminal, somebody has done something that is misrepresentation, that's for the O1 visa. Usually you won't see, like, oh, the person didn't even submit anything. Maybe just submitted the form. Those are things that, so usually, if they say submit 7 requirements and you submit the requirements, you can be sure that merit is going to take you through that. Once you get a decision in the US, which is like approval, typically, you did know 2, 3, right? So days that we're going to use to essentially submit your decision, and you go for what is just like a rubber stamp interview. Represented in documentation. You might have where do you get this categorization? But if you were part of that, you submitted a draft and we helped you to make it better. At least you know so that is something that that's the same thing across my work. The O1 visa is how I got to America. I used the O1 visa, got into the US. Typically, the company that you filed with, which is the company that is the employer on the O1 visa, is the company you can work with. Technically on paper. However, in reality, you can work with other companies, except that those companies must pay the company that you have on paper to pay you. And it's not illegal at all. It's called seconding. It's not illegal at all. So the US has a work permit category called cop to cop, which is you can work with your company, with another company.
The last statement, I just missed it on, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
To pay?
So essentially, right?
Yeah.
Let's say the company that filed for you is your company. What's your company name? Just give me a name. XYZ.
Vesti.
Vesti. Don't use Vesti because it's confusing. Right? So XYZ Corp is the company that filed for you. That's the only company you can work with in America on paper as your employer. If Microsoft wants to hire you, Microsoft has to hire XYZ Corp to hire you. But it's not a strange arrangement. This is called seconding. It's called corp to corp. So you can work corp to corp with another company. Do you understand? So your salary will not be paid to you directly. It will be paid to your company, and then I'm sure you pay yourself. Right? Is that explanation clear? But that's only for the period of 01 visa. Doesn't mean that's how you live throughout your life. Once you come back to a green card, you can work with any company. Right? The other disadvantage of the O1, which we always tell people, or the other company, your spouse cannot work on that visa. Your spouse is not expected to work on that visa. They can be an entrepreneur, they can volunteer for a non-profit, they can go to school, but they're not allowed to work on that visa. So it's expected that, that's not the only, by the way, that's not the only US visa that your spouse can work. There are other visa types as well. Except in rare conditions, even the H1B, sometimes they can't work on even though there's the H4 years, but it's usually approved by discretion. Do you understand? So the O1 has a spouse called the O3, right? And the O3 person cannot work on that visa. However, what we have seen is that as an O3, if you apply to a job, because now your foot is in America, so if you go and apply for a job, that job can file for you. Do you understand? Because you are now in America. What people don't know is this. Many of the companies that all of us want to work for, what they don't want to pay is legal fees, and they don't want to also pay for education. So if you're already in America, the conversation is different. Have I seen it? I've seen many of it in this my last couple of years, including companies like Microsoft, even hiring people. So that's the only con I see for the O1 visa. Other than that, it's fantastic. It's quick. You know, it doesn't require a lot of background check, time, you know, and all of that. Also, whenever they ask you to go to, whenever they ask you to go for the interview, always listen to the embassy that our team asks you to go. Why is it important? There are certain embassies or consulates that they don't do work permits. I'm not saying they don't do it, but they are not familiar with it. So when O1 first started, we have a few friends who went to do their O1 visa in Abuja. They got on AP. Because the guys in Abuja didn't even know that there was something called, they had to open book to be able to see that, oh, there is a visa. And this is real, because these are government workers, don't forget. You know, so usually we ask people to go to embassies where we know that they have. Now, that's a long story. In Abuja now, many O1s have been approved in Abuja, so they know about that visa type as well. Always listen to instruction by the consultant team on what to do. So I think that's about it for the O1, right? So the EB1, the question for the O1, right? Okay. Where is Bumi now? Yeah, I want her to see me standing. Because this hotel, when they have chair, I used to sit ice stool whenever I'm in.
They need your customer.
They used to have ice stools. Even if it's not fine, I don't mind this time.
There is none. I actually asked them.
They are very rude for them not to have. These guys used to have ice stools now.
Yes.
Even if it's not fine, bring it.
Ice tools. No,
Anyways.
but I can get you one to
Anyways.
use for now. Thank you.
I mean, it's ridiculous, right? That you pay for a space and they don't have. Who does that? You should have the company or kitchen or something, so that they feel ashamed of themselves. Please.
Okay, so I will just put the questions that have like 3 ones together. So first thing about the O1 visa, the requirements. I want to ask if being a part of a recognized fellowship counts as part of the organization.
It counts as membership, absolutely.
Yes.
And if the fellowship came with money, if it came with the price, then it will count as awards too.
Awards. Okay. If it doesn't come with money, it comes with only certificate.
Yes, that's membership.
Okay. Yes. Then the publishing, the Nigerian newspapers,
Yes, they count. Nigerian dailies.
dailies.
Yes, those ones that have distinguished reputation out of them. The Nation, This Day, Business Day, The Guardian, Vanguard. They are read by hundreds of thousands of people every year. Those ones count.
So it must be like an article published on you, not
Mentioned, not just mentioned. Before, mentions used to work.
okay.
So it has to be on you. Something that you led, something that says experts, opinion, things like that.
Then the last one I want to ask, can you determine which states you are going to US
Yes,
on that
what
one?
Say again?
Can you determine which states you want to go on that one?
No, the US doesn't have provinces restrictions like Canada. You know, so you can go anywhere in the US. Anywhere. It's not written on it, it's not attached to it. Comes the filing company for you. You can also work with any company you already have. Let's say you have a mentor, a family member that has a company, you can use that company. But to avoid being, thank you, Bumi. To avoid, this is quite low, so just manage it like that. Thank you, Abayomi, for already working on that. So to avoid being fired by the people that helped you with the company, we always encourage you to incorporate yours. But there's no requirement on Whether it's your company or another company. Are you with me, sir? Yes. Yes.
Last for 3 years.
Yes.
And then you decide that you don't want to travel until a year later. What's the rule around that?
There's no rule. So unlike unlike the Canada Express Entry Visa, let's compare it to that. There is no rule for when you should arrive. Yeah. We can get the size to if I'm not asking for too much. You know, so yeah, there's no requirement about when to arrive. Yes. However, when it's time for you to renew, you might have questions on why you got the visa and you never used it. No issues about why you didn't arrive on time. Because obviously we have a reason, isn't it? Yeah, well, general reason may be that you're working somewhere or the other things you're working on. You know, the US is always just about, but there's no rule that says that on this way you must have arrived. No such. Yes, which is nice. That's why we came.
All the 7 accomplishments that you're supposed to have, can you, if you have it under a year, can you also
like this? I kind of learn like this. Because I'm raising my father. Sorry, is there anybody that's struggling to see me? Okay, this is better. Let's go on.
If you have it, let's say you have it in 2025, can you also process your O1 application? That's in
Yes, you can. You can. Think about it this way. Let's say you just won a gold medal in track. You know, are you going to say that the gold medals were 10 years old before you can use it? Exactly. So if you just published a book this year, that's when you published it. So you can use it. Do you get what I mean? So there's no, because people overthink it and say, oh, that accomplishment has to age. But it's not true. If you just recently won a prize or an award, that's what it is. Do you get what I'm saying? Yes, even when you publish an article. If you just recently became a columnist in a magazine as an expert, you know, do you get what I mean? You're not going to say, oh, they should be making 3 years ago or so. It is usually when people are trying to cook up evidence that they get concerns about like, maybe they will catch me or maybe they will know. But if you are an expert and it is just time, okay, let me give you an example. People have been inviting you to contribute to newspapers, but you just never thought it was important. Now you attended this meeting and found out it was important. Then you call the guy back from tomorrow and started publishing. Is that wrong? Do you get what I'm saying? Nominations. People have nominated you for award. They're like, all those people are always carrying plaque up and down. This is my friend. You know, all this, we critique people like that. I be like, I don't want all those kind of awards. Now you call them as award or joy. Alpha. Do you get? So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just you recognizing now that you should take those recognitions a little more seriously. Or cost of the visa, of the petition, the process itself. Yeah, you don't say like you didn't tell us. I see maybe you think maybe I might do it. You say you have not told us yet. Okay. No, I know it's just semantics. I'm just kidding as well. $11,000, $10,000, $12,805 if you want the results information in premium processing. The money doesn't go to us. So I have people I'm dealing with right now. They're like, it's not fast. And I said, it's not me, the US government. And you can collect your check back if they did not give you the information what they are supposed to give you. But as the US always says, immigration is a privilege, not a right in any country. You know, so if you want it to be regular, $10,000. If you want it to be premium processing, which is the $12,000, the $2,805 goes directly to the government. Check written to Homeland Security for them to fast track your case. Right? But this is how I think about it. If they're a family of four, they're married, just divide it by the number of children or number of family members. You see that it's about 2,000. That's number one. Number two, is the only country where proof of fund is not required. You know, you don't require proof of fund. You know, you don't go to the chair away again. Who took it away again? Oh, the chair is still behind you. Oh, right there. Okay. Because now they brought it. Thank you. See, everything just improvised. None of it is feasible. But I appreciate it. Thank you. So that's it about the O1 visa cost. Yeah. Yes. No, now. You know the way we ask questions in Nigeria, it's always amazing to me. So to renew it is $12,000 a bit. It's not. The renewal itself is just government fees. It's usually like maybe $760, you know, to do the renewal. There's just a set of forms to fill. The legal fees may apply, but it will never be like as much as that much will be. And usually for Nigerians, if you don't have a British passport or another Canadian passport, I don't think you should be trying to renew another one. Personally, I feel you should be thinking about what is the next level to get you to green card, right? Yeah, but let's say there's a circumstance that requires you to renew it. It's not going to be $10,000, right? Yeah. So that's that about the O1 visa. So I was saying before they brought the table that there's no proof of fund required. So you are not spending money on all those kind of things. How many people know about UK health insurance? That you have to, IHS, you have to pay for 4 years, per year, per child, per family member. US, nothing like that. Don't need to have anything. With due respect, sorry I'm a little goofy this evening, so please pardon me. You know, because some of these are not like necessary, but I'm compelled to say that you don't care whether you health insurance. If you like no health insurance, we see Babalawo, you don't care. You know, but so it's not, or if you would eventually do that, they don't expect that you should have done that before arriving. It's when you get, of course, you should get health insurance, but they don't, it's not like they expect it to have been done before. So when you think about that, you will see that it's actually a cheap route. It's cheaper than education. Education for some schools like $25,000, and you still have to, you can't still work, you know. So when you look at the pros and cons like that, you see that the advantages are very good.
How about the guarantee?
And 1 second, don't forget your question. Say how about that's not a lottery-based visa. First thing is we don't use the word guarantee at Vesti. Guarantee is like it's a word that people that want to do people use because you're not supposed to provide guarantee for something that you're not in control of. So we provide these assurances of our best work. Because there are 7 requirements, if you meet 3, I can almost say to you that you are like 85–90% sure that you get your approval. Do you understand? But it's because there's still a chance that you won't get it, I can't provide you 100% assurance. If you have 5 out of 7, I can almost tell you that in fact, if they reject you, sue them. Do you get what I mean? Because except there's something that is material misrepresentation, fraud, or anything that has been done in that person's background that they fail to disclose to their lawyer, you know, you should be good to go. So the chances are very high. If you know you were asking me, look at the questions you're asking me, price, this, it means that you're already doing the maths in your head that there are a number of things you qualify for. So that's the day they told me, I didn't resign at Microsoft before knowing whether they were approved. Because I looked at the requirement, I made 6 or so out of 7. I don't think there's any category I didn't provide, you know, stuff for. But that doesn't mean everybody has to be. We work with people that did not have moi leave. You know what I mean? In Yoruba, I say, meaning that at the beginning, he didn't have any document. But it was accomplished. Don't get me wrong, it's not that it's just nobody knew. It was accomplished, but he didn't have newspapers, he didn't have publications, he didn't have all of that. But we walked through a period of about 6 months, you know, for him to get all of those things in place. And he got applied this in Chicago today. So, yeah. So again, you have like to see, and I'm sure if you sit down with you today and tomorrow, you won't find a 5th one out of it, possibly. Your question? Oh, I answered it already. Oh, one, yes, please. That's why we are here. I will go through the other ones so that those who need to run as well, we know that I covered everything. Then we'll now answer more questions.
Okay, my friend is talking right now.
Say that again?
My friend is stuck in the traffic right now, but I told him his list is.
Okay.
So he said,
That's a new one.
I'm sorry, I have to be honest with you.
No, that's fine.
Okay, so he said the 10K, can it be paid twice?
Instrumentally, yes.
Okay.
So we allow installments.
Installment.
Yes.
Within the space of how?
Yeah, so basically it's up to you. The first installment is due before you start, and the last installment just before you submit to the US government.
This was small.
Yeah. So yeah, it's allowed. It's up to you. Like if you gather the document in a year, you can pay at the end of that year. If you gather it in 2 weeks and you're done, which is very rare, most people gather theirs in like 4 to 6 weeks is the best I've seen in terms of speed because there's recommendation letters involved. So some people can't find recommendation on time. You know what I mean? Like the person that wants to help you is busy. He's trying to do all those kind of things. So so it's really about that. And there are people who pay all the way up front, like everything, because look at what has happened to the dollar. Who knows where it's going next? So sometimes it's just good to at least secure your payments, ahead of time. So but yeah, installments is allowed. That's the answer to that question. Any other question on 01, or should we quickly jump to? If you remember any question on 01, we are still happy to come back to it. But for now, it seems like people are okay. So let's move to the EB1. So the EB1 is the elder brother of the 01, like we like to say. It's actually the employment-based category as well. The advantage of the EB1 immediately over the 01 is that you can begin working with any company as soon as you arrive. Like it's not tied to your employer. It's not tied to the company that found for you, like I said. So you don't need cop to cop. You don't need cop to cop. You don't need the whole explanation that you are a company who is going to be seconded. You don't need all of that. It's direct, and it entitles you to a green card right away for you and for all your family members. Like family members, immediate family is what we're talking about. Your spouse and your kids under the age of 21. All right. Anybody that's already above 21, it won't cover them. I'm coming. Let me talk a little about it so that you'll be able to. Okay.
So my question is, does it require labor certification for 01? Like
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't require labor certification. EB1 doesn't require labor certification. No. It doesn't. Yes. So the EB1 is, it entitles you to a green card, usually a 10-year green card. So within 4 years and 9 months, you can begin filing for your citizenship. So it's a pretty good process. The only thing is that it requires a little more scrutiny than the old one, because now you're looking for permanent residency benefits. Guess what? All the requirements are exactly the same. 7 requirements, you only need to meet 3 out of the 7 as well. Preferably meet 5 so that you can be overwhelmingly qualified. Alright, so all the things I mentioned before, evidence of awards, evidence of salary, physical capacity, scholarly articles, recognized in publications and media, memberships, judging the work of others. All those 7 are also the same for the EB1. They designed the difference because there are people who are seeking permanent residency in America. So that's perfect for them. Which is mostly most of us that are trying to move, because they don't want to spend the money and they spend it only on a temporary visa. Why don't you just be doing B1, B2 that is 5 years? You get what I mean? Although, of course, the advantage of the 01, because some of you may ask, I'm surprised nobody asked. If the 01 is 3 years, B1, B2 is 5 years, why don't I just do B1, B2? The difference is you're not expected to work at all. 01 gives you social security number, B1, B2 does not. So 01, when you're arriving in America, anytime, nobody asks you when are you leaving. B1, B2, every time you come, they will ask you when will you be going back. 6 months approved at once. That's what they will give you for the 01. For the B1, B2. For the 01, it's approved at the end of your petition. So you don't need to worry about, I'm going to overstay my time. When you get the 5 years B1, B2, you can't stay more than 6 months at a time. Even that 6 months they give you, you have to be careful not to use all of it at once. Because if you do, you're going to ask me questions later to say, I thought you were a visitor. Why are you spending 6 months? Have you been working? And so on and so forth. Right? So that's that. Who should do the EB1? Someone that is very, very confident that they are qualified for the 01. because it's the same requirements, right? If you are very confident, you're scoring 6/7, scoring 7/7, you should probably consider the EB1. Also, anybody that's not in the hurry should consider EB1. In the hurry because when you get approved for the EB1 in America, depending on the country that you are appearing for the interview, you might be delayed for as much as 12 months. You know, so that's for the EB1 because it's a green card you're trying to get. So that takes more time. However, if you have a B1, B2, you can fly into the US and then do your conversion in the US. So that's fast for you. What other reason would make you choose the EB1 over the O1? Just the idea that you don't want to have to invest twice, like I did. So I did the O1 first, then I did the EB1 again. So, and how much is the EB1? 11,000. So just $1,000 more. And if you want to be expedited as well, another 2,800. Last April, where you want people applying for special asylum visas to be the one paying for asylum seekers, you know, just to reduce their cost.
When you talk about expediting on this EB1, what does it say to the 12 countries?
Thank you. So the expediting only works for the approval in America, not for your, biometrics and all those things you are doing with the NPC in Nigeria. Do you understand? So they don't go on to expedite that part. That part is not so that you can expedite it. Yeah. No. Your one visa is a temporary immigrant visa. It's like a non-immigrant visa, right? So the line here in Lagos and in many countries is very, very short. It's not the same as B1, B2 line. Typically people get dates in within a month. So there's no delay because it's instant. The issuance is instant. For the O1 visa, yes. If you don't get into it, which we now have to unfortunately be talking about every time now, administrative process is rare. It's rare. It happens within maybe 1 out of 20 or 1 out of 30 people. You know, but sometimes they put people in the administrative process because they're trying to find out. Let me give you an example of why they put somebody in the administrative that I know. They sent the website of the company that filed for them. The website wasn't running, wasn't working. You know, so that gives that officer the need to doubt whether that thing they brought was genuine or not. But if everything checks out on the spot, easy peasy. You know, my wife and I worked in, we came out, approved. You know, many people, hundreds of people. That in my own case, my passport did not have any place to stamp. So the guy asked me that, why I want to put it on my palm? Why did I come? You know, so I had to go to get a new passport, and I sent it in, you know, separately. You know, and they assured me that I was going to get the passport by Friday of that week. So I packed up my load and drove with the car to the embassy. So that once I complete the passport, I'll go to the airport directly. No going back home. I am telling you.
Because of late people.
I am telling you. So, anyways, that's how ready I was when I was moving. Okay. Any other questions on the EB1? So, close is the EB2. EB2 or EB2 NIW because they are not the same, but the one we like to talk about is actually the EB2 NIW. The NIW means National Interest Waiver. So let's say you were doing something that is of national interest to the US. And how do you know? There's usually an agenda on whitehouse.gov that shows what the US is interested in. So with this new administration, course that is in the line of that, and you have a master's degree or a bachelor's degree with more than 5 years experience, our team may be able to tell you if you are qualified for the EB2 NIW. So with that master's degree, we put together a proposed endeavor, which is called like a business plan of what you want to go and do in America. You write your petition, you gather other documents like your thesis in university, if you have any scholarly articles you published and so on. You know, some of my team members are so tired. We've been here since morning now, so I'm just pitching them right now. Even me, I'm tired, but I won't know what has happened to me until when I'm done. Something else while I retreat. So I want to say thank you to you guys for standing by and hanging out with us. So we put all that together, submit it to the USCIS, and that becomes the basis for granting you an approval. It's also a 10-year green card. EB29W costs $10,000 flat. Please, anytime I say cost 10,000, it contains government fees, attorney fees. So it's not Vesti money, right? Government fees inside, lawyer money is inside, documentation fees is inside, all of that is inside, it's all together. So you're not, the only thing that is not there is the cost of the visa at the local embassy. Because we don't know how many family members you are going to bring on board. So, and also the price changes from time to time. So it's difficult to bundle it together.
Flight ticket is not.
And flight ticket is not included. Some people paid $100 last year for lottery. I said they thought that the flight tickets, everything inside that, $100 out on YouTube. Since then we've always specified that all those things are not part of it. Help you find it, and it's a very fast visa. Alright? We also have P3, which is the entertainment visa. So there's somebody that you're a script writer, a movie actor, producer, podcast creator, a comedian, you can get the entertainment visa as well. So there's a lot, there's so many. There's the vocation visa used to be. Right now, Nigeria is not covered anymore, just recently. Numbers, tilers, you can use it to move to America. There's a way you can discover yourself as an African. I won't say more than that. Maybe you have family member, maybe your parents, your mom is Cameroonian, and you're just realizing, and essentially that those are also possible. You can also use that to get into that H2B. And H2B is all year round. It doesn't work with the nurses. There's also the no cap H1B for non-profits. So if you're in NGO space, you can actually use, and you won't have to work the match, period. And it's not based on lottery. A non-profit can travel you to America on H1B. So these are, you see how many of these things are discussed today, and then people will still doubt that never, it doesn't exist. It bothers me a lot.
So this religious entertainment,
yes.
What's their span? Do they have?
So many of them are short, right? Entertainment is 6 months, but you can keep renewing. The R2 visa is a work permit, that's about 3 years. O1B. Yes, O1B is for television and motion pictures. You know, entertainment is not only about television and motion pictures, right? You say, okay, are you not sure? You are not sure. Entertainment, if you're a magician, you're an entertainer. If you are an acrobat, you are an entertainer. If you are a beatboxer, you are an entertainer. You know, those who use their mouth to make sound. If you are a poet, you are an entertainer. But O1B is for television, motion pictures. Do you get what I'm saying? So filmmakers, you know, TV shows, that's what that one is for. There's also EB1B as well, similar to what you just mentioned. So, you know.
Sorry, I'm sorry to draw us back.
No, you are not drawing us back.
I want to ask questions about the technician visa in the UK.
In the UK?
Yeah, you know, I see lots of your adverts and publications. Today is actually the first time I'm getting to know that you do anything in the UK.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's me, right? Not Vesti. So Vesti publicizes all their visas.
Okay.
But because I live in America, I usually publicize the US ones. Because I want people to come to America. Because I have a sentiment for America. Say again? Oh yes, over UK.
So please just maybe briefly tell us about the options in the UK, maybe, and the costs, maybe that is different from schooling and then
Care visa.
yeah.
Okay, so I did mention the investor visa, about £300,000. Usually out of reach for most people, but it's good to know that it exists. There is the technician visa, like I said, two categories: the exceptional promise and exceptional talent. The misconception about UK technician is that you have to be a programmer or coder, but that's not true. The other misconception is that you have been denied before you can apply again. That's not true. The other misconception is that you have to be in tech. You don't have to be in tech. There are two other categories. You can be a painter, you can be an artist, you can be a fashion entrepreneur, it's still considered global talent. As long as you are endorsed by one of the endorsing bodies for those categories. The cost from a Vesti standpoint is £7,000. It doesn't include the cost of the visa locally when you're about to move to the UK. Also, the endorsement money is part of it, and we're able to return that one in case you are not endorsed. Because usually they didn't collect the endorsement money from you. What other thing do I want to say about technician visa? Do you want to tell you the benefits? You don't have to have an employer, so you can work with anybody. You don't have to have a job offer, so you can work with anybody. Typically, it leads to the ILR.
The length of time.
3 years, 5 years. Exceptional promise, 5 years. Exceptional talent, 3 years.
So you have to pay the insurance for 5 years.
That's correct. For all your family members. That's what they say, yes. You pay for IHS. You pay for IHS. That's not before you get the endorsement. That's after your endorsement is successful. When you're about to apply for the visa itself. About 1,000 something, 1,003 something pounds per person. We pay it on the Vesti app as well in case you want to. Per person per year. So when somebody pays £15,000, I have a friend, she has a family of 4. 300 per person for 5 years. You know, it's way more expensive than the O1 visa and EB1 and all that, and the requirements are the same. So sometimes, you know, there are some visa types that they are cheap initially when you are processing them, but they are more expensive on the long run. Yeah. But the good thing is that you get to the UK on the stuff, and let's say you get exceptional talent, and it's 3 years to ILR. If you get a job somewhere else, you can get a refund of your IHS if your insurance is not covered by your new employer. So it's like you saving money. Hopefully, it has a lot of value to send back home. You know.
So I think we can take questions now.
Yeah. So I think we were finishing F1. Or there was one we were finishing before you said don't let me bring you back, right? Our work has done pretty much.
So I can see one hand up there.
So skilled worker. I was talking about it in the UK, in the US. I I now said that it's right now Nigerians are now exempted from it. Yes. So, but if you are from any other African country, we work for you. For which one? H2B. Unskilled. Yes, where they are referring to like blue collar workers, mechanics, tilers, plumbers, and so on.
As you mentioned Canada, UK, US, any other?
Oh, there's a bunch of other countries to support for temporary visas. UAE, Schengen visas, all of that. Education for a wide variety of schools across many countries I can't begin to mention. And very soon we are launching Taiwan Gold Card, as well as the Dubai Golden Visa, the Japanese Golden Visa. These are like, in fact, if you qualify for one of these, you most likely qualify for all those ones too. Part of the things that is in our ambition is to create a protocol that doesn't make you apply each time you want to go across those countries. Since they are all talent visas, but it doesn't exist as of today.
Sorry, I would like us to just pick a number so we know.
Oh, so we don't have any questions? Okay.
So let's
Yes, we are number one.
So number one.
Number one.
Who else has questions? 2, 3. I see one hand there. So we just have 3.
Sorry, my question is basically on the F1 result. Because last year I was to give my admission for a reason.
Okay.
The reason being is that the man that was supposed to be my sponsorship was sick. Do you understand? I couldn't be able to get the statement of account. Do you understand? That's why I was forced to give my admission. It was after then I was introduced to this Vesti that I can try to meet up. So when I saw the mail, I was excited that this is exactly what I'm working towards. So what I wanted to ask is that last week I got a mail from the immigration that I have to submit the this year document to process my I-20. And the man supposed to be my sponsorship now is sick. Do you understand? What can the companies
Do.
Do you understand?
So, well, the I-20 is from the university,
Yes.
not from the embassy.
Immigration.
What do you mean
They are
immigration?
the ones that are processing.
Have you gotten the I-20 before?
Yes, I got it last year.
Okay. So you got the old I-20.
Yeah, but I couldn't be able to meet up with
That's right. So you need a new I-20. It's your school that processes I-20, not immigration. Femi, am I correct? It's the university that issues the I-20. That's what I'm saying. It's not immigration. Sure, you understand what I'm saying? Believe me, just believe me. Because we have done it more times than you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. So, in order to be able to do that, you just have to demonstrate that you have a sponsor. It doesn't have to be that man, it can be someone else.
Yes,
That's
that
right.
is anyone.
Exactly. So we have a proof of fund service that we can use for that. You just need to submit your statement of account to that school that shows that you have the money. Luckily for you, the US does not look at how long the money has been there. They just look at how much is there now. The UK, no. In fact, the UK will even call your bank these days. You have to leave the money there until your visa is out. This one, do you understand? So we have a proof of fund service. Femi can help you today before you leave. Or Tayo, you can help you before you leave. Tayo here. You just stepped out. Okay, you're me? Yes, this Tayo, me there. They're going to help you with the proof of funds. We have to make sure it covers the amount that is on your admission letter. Once you tell us that amount, we're going to credit your account. We do both existing and non-existing accounts. The rates are different, right? Once they credit your account, you will be able to provide to them that this is it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Congratulations in advance. Which state are you planning to go to? Where? Ohio. Please, don't do like that during your interview. Once you do that's it. Put it long. So, but it's not always like that. Sometimes some people will just forgive you and know that. But some other people will say, that means you're not the one that filled the admission. That means you're all kind of things like that. And it could just be a slip of memory, but they have their reasons. So you have to always practice and all that. We'll provide you all that support. Congrats in advance.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Congratulations on your 62 members.
Thank you.
I want to inquire, please. Do you have a program for affiliates who work with Vesti? who also on their end promote, all of Vesti services, but as an affiliate, not.
Yeah, up until now, we've only focused on those who have gone through our process, just to keep the sanctity of the process. So if you have gone through our process and you have been approved, then we've signed you up for what we call a provider program. Any of our processes, yes. So because what we've tried to do is, so we have this mentality about like, you can only provide give blood if you are well. You get what I mean? So if you have already gone through the process, there's a chance that people will give you more. However, today that we might need to begin to review that process. Do you understand what I mean? I'm just messing around. So essentially, we feel like to be able to keep sanctity of our process, that's why we initiated that. But in order to be able to grow and expand, there are credible organizations as well who are willing to help us around the world. So this year, we are bringing new modalities for that. So my colleague Ife is in charge of partnerships as well. Ife, do like this now. So you can get the details after now so that you can send us an email, we can bring you on the call and look at what you're thinking about as far as that is concerned. But we feel like more people need to hear about this.
All right, number 3. Yes, thank you. So I actually came late. I heard that you talked about the technician, the global visa talent. Yeah, for someone who is actually more of a promise, then how long does it take? And what if does Vesti actually handle the process, all the requirements for you, more like, let me just say, more like the experience, the requirement actually, how do they actually work? So yeah, I want to explain more of that. Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, the endorsement takes about 4 to 6 weeks. Once you are submitted. How long it will take to gather your document is a different ballgame entirely. It depends on how ready you are as a person, what you are waiting for, what you already have done. Does Vesti have end-to-end with the process? The answer is yes. But with Vesti manufacture evidence for you, do all of that, no. Do you understand? For the process, let's say guiding you to do your publication, reviewing all your letters, providing you with samples and templates of the program. Everything that will make sure that you're not stressed in the process to go through that. Right? Yeah, but other than that, so for all our processes, even if you have money today, we won't collect it. We always want you to come on through a clarity call. What that has done for us is has reduced refunds, reduced conflict issues. Because with the clarity call, you hear everything about the process, to ask the questions you want to ask. So you are fairly convinced that you should go ahead with the process. So that also helps. So for the technician visa, you would have done the clarity call that would have helped you to know what does it entail, what is left out, what is not left out. Like as I said, if you pay the £7,000 for the technician visa, it doesn't cover the cost of the visa locally here when you're about to come. It doesn't cover your health insurance and some other things like flights and so on and so forth. It covers the government fees, the initial stage 1 payment, covers the endorsement fees as well. Yeah, I think endorsement is around 1,200 or 1 or so.
Do we still have more questions in the house? Okay. I think you've answered all these 5 questions. Interesting.
Yes. You are using up the cost of the fuel, everything that it brought you in. It's totally fine.
Okay, so yeah, 2 questions again. The first one is the funding support. Is it only for academic?
Great question. So, okay.
Then the second one, for the O1, the talent, does having like a thriving YouTube channel count for any of those kind of?
Absolutely. The thriving YouTube channel counts. It's not the YouTube video we will send. It's usually the analytics, the commercial success of it, how much they've paid you, all those things. So having the thriving YouTube channel works. We have and motion picture, which is O1B or AB1B. Or as an entrepreneur, if what you do is largely beyond the YouTube channel itself. On the type of loans, yes, it covers education and it covers regular migration. Only the education one does not require collateral. The regular one for other types, like let's say you need a loan for O1 or EB1, it requires collateral. What type of collateral? house, land, cars, and trust me, we're not the one collecting it, it's the lending partner. So we signed partnership with some lending partners. We take cash from 2019 and above, and if you return the money, you have none of your property or anything, it's just a collateral, just like I said. But they will still charge interest rate on those loans and all that. But they're quite decent. So it's not just education. Okay. Kingsley, I want to do it every some of my colleagues are here, they're just like, oh my god, this guy. Oh.
Good evening.
Yes.
I was actually doing stuck in traffic. So
then you were on the call, are you? Oh, okay, nice. That's some determination there,
Yeah. Thank you very much. Now, I want to actually ask, for this loan thing, I've really cleared some of my doubts that, okay, yeah, they are landed properties and all can be used. Now, over the time, is there a specific period of time, like say there's a visa particularly I heard you talk about, which is about 10K dollars. So now, is it that you get to pay the whole 10K before you leave this Nigerian soil, or is there you work the payment plan or the payment mode?
Are you asking now for the service we're offering, or in relation to the loan?
For the service.
Oh, for the service. So for the service, it's not even about when you leave Nigeria. It's really about before we even submit. So you pay the first installment. Because we can't there's no enough energies with chasing people. So you're paying the first installment before we start, and the final installment before we submit to the US government.
Okay, in particular, you're saying probably about twice, per se.
You can pay 5 times, as long as you are paid up to 50% before you start, and pay the remaining balance before we submit. So I'll give you an example. There's somebody who paid 2,000 now, paid 3,000. Oh, now it's halfway, right? Then we start. Then he has 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. As long as it's finished paying, we will not be able to submit until it's finished paying. So, but if you want to put it together, that's how we have a wallet. So I know you won't do that. I'm just making an example that even if you have to pay multiple times, we are okay with it. Because it's not easy to come by $10,000. We acknowledge that. With great acknowledgement, as a matter of fact.
I have a question.
Yes.
So for this video, I think he was asking if you need to ask earlier. But is there a specific one for people that are skilled just because they're accountants? These are for
Well, not exactly. Accountants, actuarial scientists, all of that, they are in high demand. So it will work basically for any of the visa types I talked about, H1B, EB1, O1. If it's a celebrated accountant, for example, like in the space of work, all those kind of things, then you can do the O1, or you can do the EB1 if you want. But it's not like they specifically laid out. But I'll give you an example. If he has a master's, he can do the EB2NIW as an accountant because tax professionals are in high demand in the United States. So, and it supports the national interest. And I should be careful when I say that. Is Paula here?
Yes.
Okay. I should be careful when I say that because just with Trump coming in 7 days ago, the agenda for NIW has changed. Do you get? So one will just follow that agenda. So it's not like it's an issue. It's not an issue. Our team knows that every change in administration requires you to re-understand what is of national interest. Every other thing don't affect but national interest. For example, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Is that what DEI is? What's DEI? I'm correct that. DEI has been removed completely. You do anything DEI like this, they will send you to El Salvador. Like, I'm just kidding, but they will not approve it because, in fact, they are cutting budget on everything DEI. So somebody cannot go and say, I want to come and promote DEI in America. Then that would be insensitive to the policy. So yes, accountants, actuarial scientists, they're in high demand. PwC, the lawyer, they're looking for them. Oh, it's the PwC, you see what I'm saying? Why doesn't it consider the intra-company transfer? All it needs to do is to begin to look for jobs in PwC, USA. They blocked it. Oh. Oh, they signed it that, that you won't be able to, intentionally. They noticed that people are moving a lot. But Deloitte hasn't done that. KPMG is still moving people. Oh, sorry to hear that. So you can move to a PwC competition. Start looking for every roles in Accenture and all of that. I have a mentor I can connect him with, just for career purposes. He's a big brother, friend, and he's an accountant and actuarial scientist in Accenture, New York. So they can just connect LinkedIn and then do resume, things like that. Who knows? We'll be sharing testimony in a couple of months. Yeah. All right. It looks like we've had a wonderful day. Okay, just one more question here. Because I know there are still people who say, I actually wanted to ask a question. They'll come and meet me. So I want to reserve some energy for that.
So, 2 questions for you, actually.
Yes.
First, a very short one. How can I see the list of 600 schools you support?
Oh, right, it's on our website. There's a website, vesti.com/schools we support. That's how you got it, right? So when you go into the app as well, download the app, sign up. Once you click on loans, the application page that schools we support. Yes, school_we_support. Education is where I did. You guys need to get in the link before you do this. Anybody that can help with education. Even for that, you can help out.
Okay, then secondly, please, can you shed more light on this intercompany?
So intercompany transfers, the way they work for any company is that if you have worked for a certain amount of time in a company in Nigeria, you can transfer to this US subsidiary of the same company. So imagine Deloitte Nigeria moving to Deloitte US, Microsoft Nigeria moving to Microsoft US, PZ Ecosys Nigeria moving to PZ Ecosys US, Unilever Nigeria, Unilever US, XYZ Consulting Nigeria, XYZ Consulting US. Oh, we support, you just provide us the letter of employment. Once we provide letter of employment, we would ask other details, EIN, the other details we ask from both companies. Typically, if it's not a large company, it's not popular companies like I just mentioned, if it's like your own business here, and you still have that business abroad, and we will have to prove that you hired the country manager to continue the affairs of this one here. So the announcement in the newspaper of that particular person that is taking over from you, we're going to need the organogram of the company, all those things. We're going to need all of that.
So you stand no chance if you have already gone through the whole visa process. So, unlike what you just said, get the job, then give the details. No, it's the other way around.
Let me tell you, that is a tricky thing. They are not, let me tell you what, Microsoft did the same thing to me. So as Microsoft Nigeria, if you're an engineer in Microsoft Nigeria, you want to do it a company transfer, it's easier because it's engineering, right? But if you're in a program management role like I was a philanthropist. I went to America, went to Seattle, told them I need this job. My mentor had been winning awards, everything. My mentor was like, fantastic. They even gave me interviews. So they said, okay, what about your visa? I said, how do you know that will do my visa? They said they can give you a job today, but there's no visa. That there are many people that have been waiting in India, in other places, who have gotten a job 2 years and have not yet arrived. So what I can do is I should go and get the visa first. That's why I sent me on the wild goose chase. I went to Nigeria to go and get the visa. By the time I got back, they had left Microsoft. But he's a great guy. He's a great guy. He's still working for me when I initially got the final job in Microsoft. So what I'm saying in essence is that what they're actually saying is for you to go and find the visa in another way. Because there's no way a firm like us will file if you don't have the letter of employment, the company details, and all of that. So what they're saying is use another entity. So what I did was I used my own company entity to get the job and then to get the visa. And when I got to America, they told them, hey, I'm here now, and I have a visa. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's like the better route. But usually that's just a way to say they are swamped with sponsorship requests. And they are telling you that we like you. But if you were British or American already, this would have been perfect. I know friends who just left Microsoft Nigeria and just traveled for work, conference, and they just landed a job in Seattle. They're already Americans. Some they're already British. They just landed a job right away. Because there are always thousands of job openings. Managers are always looking for people. And that's what I tell people. If you're an O1 or you're an O3, your spouse, like just get there, go to Facebook, like walk in. Like, it's because now you're in America, you'll be able to do walk-ins. Walk-in roles, you just want to, I just want coffee. Some of them have hiring hours, recruiting hours, I just want to have coffee. Check somebody on LinkedIn and be like, can I drop by you guys' campus? And that's how you have a career chat. Last week, there's a manager of mine that said was looking for somebody. Do you want to have a quick call with them now? In a top company, I won't mention which one of my mentors told me specifically, they arranged an interview for her on the day she went there with the children of the manager. He just looked for two of his child and two friends, so that it will be on record that there were other people in a top Fortune 500 company. That's how, like, some of these opportunities can be once you step out of this place. I mean, there are people that went to interviews in Dubai, like they went to, and it was different. Like they just got the road. But you get to Dubai first. Do you understand? So it can be tricky. The price of everything. O1 visa 10,000, EP1 11,000. All these do not contain premium processing. Premium processing is alright. H1B is 1,000 to get into the lottery. 8,250 if you get selected. 250 if you get selected in the lottery. That's after. You mean you are writing things down, jot things down and take things away. People always forget trend quickly in Nigeria. There's so many trends, and when I remember them, people have forgotten. Remember that one? I said jot things down and take things. Just too funny.
I just want to clarify something.
Yes, sir.
You started. I have two questions actually.
Yes, sir.
But I'm interested in this intra-company transfer.
Intra-company transfer.
And I want to know whether it's limited to a big company. And what am I saying is, if I decide to open my XYZW company in the US, and I meet all the requirements, I can transfer myself.
That's correct. It's not limited to big companies at all.
Okay, so what process do I have to?
Yeah, so the process is the same. You start the clarity call, we do the clarity call and walk you through what is required.
On the other side?
Yes, we list everything. You will incorporate the company in the US. The thing about L1, unlike O1, O1 you don't need to have transacted with the company. With L1 you will need to have begun transacting with the company. So if you have a visiting visa, it will be a good thing. If you don't have a visiting visa, you can begin to transact with the US company even without being in the US. You register the company, people don't know you can be a vendor to multiple companies, they pay you there, you transfer your money. So once you have proof that the transfer you are trying to do of yourself to that other company, the company has capacity to receive you, maybe through the fact that it has money and all that. That's it. You have employees or team members, you have an organogram that shows that there's corporate governance, there's a board, all those things. We'll provide all the support.
This just dropped on my mind.
That's right.
So if I have like a friend who owns a company there,
yes,
and I get a contract for him,
that's an example. Yes, that shows that you are engaged on that side.
The other question I want to ask,
we call those engagement letters and contracts.
Great. The other question I want to ask is, I've had a meeting with the Fed.
Okay.
And when you now talked about your 650 universities,
yes,
I wanted to know whether there are specific ones with sports scholarship.
Sports scholarship. You would have to check, really.
Okay.
Like as I said, there's 600 schools. Do you have an idea? It really depends on the school, right? It's this discretionary thing. But one can list it out. It's just research. But we haven't intentionally been looking for, if you search now, if you even search by keyword, you might be able to find it.
I particularly have, maybe when I look through.
Yes, I'm even saying we. I'm talking to my team members actually. That if we search by keyword, we might be able to find the ones that have those kind of support. But I doubt that, you have Colombia, all of these guys, they sponsor, they actually give scholarships for sports.
Yes, but it's just got the document we're talking about, the H1. Sorry.
I know those codes are very confusing.
That letter that I give when you have a scholarship, I think they stop sending this way.
I see. The I-20? Okay. Well, oh, you mean for sports? I see. I think they stopped it entirely.
No, people who have taken I-20 to
and they did what? No, that's not true. You see, each person's case is peculiar. I'm not saying that, sorry, that's not my point. I'm not saying that the people that told me they were not accepted didn't say the truth. I'm just saying that there is no chance that, for example, I-20 haven't been cancelled. People are still taking I-20 to the embassy and they're still getting their visas. But there are cases where maybe by virtue of discretion they didn't get it. But that doesn't invalidate the entire process of the I-20 and education visas. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, sir. Okay, that's fine. Because I still have students who arrived last month, like in America, over. I don't know what you mean by sports people. Are they not going to school? They're going to school, they're doing a course, but they're also doing sports. Or is sports the course? Do you get what I mean? If you get an undergraduate admission for, let's say, Bachelor's of Science in Information Technology, and you also play basketball, you can play basketball while going to school. And the basketball is going to pay for your education. So, I'm telling you that is still going on. And people are still getting visas for that. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Do you know there's some people who took 100,000 loan approved to the embassy and they still rejected it? There are people who got scholarships, actual Fulbright scholarship, and they still rejected it. So there are cases like that. But it doesn't mean that it invalidates the entire possibility that otherwise there would have been a bulletin. Paula, help me here. There would have been a bulletin out there that says, for Nigeria, we are not accepting this at all. Femi is here. Femi is one of the people for H1B. And Femi actually raised something with my partner recently because some people got administrative processing. I'm like, what's really going on? And then a couple of weeks later, people started getting approved in the same embassies. So one can never use one or two persons' thesis to determine what is happening across board. Are you with me, sir? So we might need to just find out what is going on. It might be the set of schools, it might be that the individuals have not defined themselves well. Let's say, for example, someone gets a Bachelor's of Science and also got a sports scholarship. But this is somebody that maybe life hasn't been too fair to. And maybe he's from the slums and basically football and is what he's doing. And he couldn't explain what he wants to go and do as Bachelor of Science. And you didn't follow him into the interview itself. They look at him, they're like, this one just wants to go and play football. He's actually not going to the school. I'm just giving cases of what could have happened that would invalidate that. But they see somebody who also explained himself and say, oh, analytics is my passion, this is why I'm going, but I also play football and I've just been covered by this. I do not think intentionally cancel that. But I promise it's something I will look into as well, just to be sure. But I don't think there's a public assertion or knowledge of the fact that sports scholarships are being rejected at this time.
I will take away from what you said.
Yes.
Is the fact that earlier people were not schooled in interview.
Yes.
You understand?
It was just like a rubber stamp.
Yeah, you just show up with the I-20
yes.
and you get the visa.
Yes. These days, they're asking more questions. There's a lot of I-20 fraud here and there, so they're asking more questions. That could be the case. But part of our work is to support those kind of people. Like, since you have a number of them, is to guide them, make sure that the coaching is good, and then we'll now start seeing it turning around and be like, look at you, and things start getting different. Thank you. I know a lot of people have had to step out, this happens, and me too, I want to end it so that I will not leave when the ovation is not loud. But it's been wonderful meeting every one of you and sharing this time with you, and hopefully, we'll keep the partnership going, we keep the conversation going. Thank you so much.
Once again, I want to appreciate you. Please watch out for our next going global event in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, in Abuja. We are releasing the dates in the next few days. We're having those events coming up. And if you're in Ghana, in Zambia, in London, Birmingham, Manchester, we have this, closed door event to people. It's always free. This event is free. You don't collect money for it at all. So always look out for these events to engage us. And these are the kind of events you need to be founders of the business themselves, engaging with the customers and clients that we deal with. Yeah, sorry, Yusuf. Yes, and of course, our cards. We have our card savings, essentially. We have a Naira debit card, and recently we signed a partnership with Garamat, and on that platform you can be able to use our global gang Naira debit card to pay for services on the platform at discounted rate. 10%, right? Yeah, 10%. So these are some of the things that we typically do at Vesti. Okay, yes, sorry. This is very important. So there's this Elite Pass, airport lounge access. Yes, so you can use that card at the airport lounge and enjoy some discount fees. Yes, at the airport lounge. Some of us are traveling a lot. You can always use a card when you're in any of the airport lounges. Then secondly, the Elite Pass, our product that we recently just launched. And when you're traveling across any of these international airports, you just need to skip the lines. And when you use that service, you have easy movement when you're traveling in or traveling out at any of the airports. It's a new, very, very interesting product, and it's just $100 subscription for a year. Like $100, and you're able to skip the lines anytime you're traveling. You just skip the lines. You don't need to go through all the entire protocols, bureaucracy, where you are moving, even within local airports in Nigeria. So you can talk to us, engage us further on that. And once again, I want to appreciate you for your time. Thank you for being such an amazing audience. Please clap for yourselves. Thank you so much. Amazing. All right, on this note, we want to end this Going Global events in Lagos. Please watch out for our next Going Global events. They are free events. We always organize them every month across different cities. So anytime you see Vesti Going Global, it's a free event. It's an opportunity. I always say it internally, like it's a free client session. Like you don't need to book a clarity call. You come here and ask some questions that you will have paid. So, when you're on the clarity call, you'll be getting those answers, essentially. So take advantage of the Going Global events. Whenever you see us advertise Going Global events, it's an opportunity to ask some questions that you typically pay to speak to a lawyer and the team to get answers for. Once again, thank you very much. My name is Ifeoluwa.